Welcome to Steady Growth, where we build money, character, and resilience the same way. Small, steady, and on purpose. No hype, just honest steps that add up. Let's begin. You know this scene, even if you've never seen it. A small room at Stanford, the late 1960s. A 4-year-old at a table. On a plate in front of them, one marshmallow. A grown-up explains the deal. You can eat this one now, or if you wait until I come back, you can have 2. And then leaves the child alone with the most interesting object in the universe. Watch what happens. Some kids eat it before the door even clicks shut. Some last a minute, and some hold out the full eternal 15, covering their eyes, singing to themselves, kicking the table leg. And here's the part that made this the most famous experiment in all of psychology. Years later, the kids who waited longer seemed to be doing better as teenagers. Better grades, better coping. And a legend was born, repeated in 1,000 articles and graduation speeches. A marshmallow at age 4 can predict your child's whole future. Willpower is destiny, and you can spot it in preschool. It's a great story. It's also wrong in the ways that matter most. And the true version, the one almost nobody tells, is far more hopeful, far more useful, and has a lot more to do with you than with your kid's willpower. Let's tell it honestly. Start with what actually happened, because the details do the work. The original waiting kids were a small group, children at Stanford's own preschool, which mostly means the kids of professors and graduate students. The famous follow-ups years later tracked only a slice of them. The link between waiting and later success was real, but modest. And hold on to that word, link. Waiting longer went along with better outcomes. Nobody ever showed it caused them. Then, decades later, a team did what good science does. They reran it properly. A much bigger group, about 10 times the size. Deliberately diverse. And this is the crucial part. They accounted for the things the legend quietly ignored. Family income, how much schooling the parents had, the home a child goes back to at night. And when they did all that, the marshmallow's crystal ball mostly fogged over. The predictive power shrank dramatically. Much of what the test seemed to be measuring about the child turned out to be measuring the world around the child. A 4-year-old's wait time, it turns out, says less about their character and more about their circumstances. Now, that is not a debunking to feel clever about. It's a door swinging open, because circumstances, unlike destiny, are something a family can actually work with. And there's one more study that should change how you see every so-called impatient kid forever. Researchers ran the marshmallow test with a small twist. Before the marshmallow ever came out, the grown-up made the child a little promise. With one group, they kept it. Promised better art supplies, delivered better art supplies. With the other group, they broke it. Sorry, turns out there aren't any. Then, only then, came the marshmallow and the famous offer. Picture the 2 rooms. The children who just met a reliable grown-up waited, on average, about 4 times longer than the children who'd just been let down. 4 times. Same age, same marshmallow. The only difference was a single fact about whether this particular world keeps its word. And suddenly, the failure to wait looks like what it really is. Excellent reasoning. Picture it from the child's side of the table. If promised things don't show up, eating the sure thing now isn't weakness, it's the smart play. A kid who grabs the marshmallow may not be short on discipline at all. They may simply have learned, from experience, that later is a place where good things tend to evaporate. Now read that straight back into your own kitchen. Every kept promise, we'll read after your bath, and then you actually read, is a quiet deposit into the account that patience draws on. We'll go to the park Saturday, and then Saturday you go. Small stuff. It adds up into something a kid can lean their whole weight on. Your reliability is your child's patience, under construction. Here's the second piece of good news, and it comes from the original researcher himself, who spent years saying the legend missed his whole point. Watch the footage of the kids who waited well, and you notice something. Almost none of them won by staring the marshmallow down. White-knuckle willpower lost nearly every time. The kids who made it used tricks. They turned around, they covered their eyes, they sang, invented hand games, scooted the plate away. And in later versions, researchers simply taught these moves, told kids to pretend the marshmallow was just a picture, fluffy as a cloud, not really there. And children who could barely last a minute suddenly waited and waited. Sit with that. The thing the legend called fixed character was teachable in a single afternoon. So teach it. When your child is absolutely dying for the thing, the screen time, the dessert, the toy in the cart, don't coach harder wanting resistance. Coach distance and distraction. 3 little moves, really. Move it out of sight. Let's put it on the high shelf where we can't see it. Make it boring. It's just a picture. It's not even going anywhere. And fill the wait with something else. Let's do the puzzle while we wait. Want to make waiting into a game? The skill was never about white-knuckling temptation at full blast. The skill is turning the volume down. And that's a trick a 4-year-old can learn on a Tuesday. And by now, you've probably felt where this is heading, because you take a version of this test yourself, basically every day. 1 now or 2 later. That's the cart you fill at 11 at night versus the transfer into savings. The new thing today versus the account nobody claps for. Even the buy now, pay later button is almost the experiment run in reverse. It hands you the marshmallow this second and quietly slides the second one off the table. So build the kid version on purpose, right on the counter. A clear jar, a goal the kids picked, taped to the front, money they can watch climb, and the celebrated day it finally pays out for something they chose. That's not a chore chart. That's the marshmallow study rebuilt in your kitchen, with the ending rewritten so waiting wins, visibly and on schedule. Now, before we land this, let's say the careful part out loud, because it matters more than any clever takeaway. 2 things to hold at the same time. First, please don't run this test on your own child, formally or casually, and please don't read their snack grabbing as some kind of forecast. The science doesn't support marshmallow as prophecy, and kids can feel it when they're being measured. A 4-year-old who eats the treat is being 4 and might just be being smart. Second, notice what the honest version actually asks. The legend put the whole weight on the child. Be stronger, little one. The truth spreads that weight out. Children wait better when their world is reliable, when promises get kept, when waiting has genuinely paid off before, and when somebody bothers to teach them the tricks. That's a to-do list for the grown-ups. And it's worth saying plainly, some families are waiting inside genuinely shaky circumstances, tight months, unstable schedules, where grabbing the sure thing really is wisdom, not weakness. Patience grows fastest in soil that feels safe to be patient in. So part of building the skill is building the soil. Hold both truths gently. Waiting is absolutely teachable. And a child who isn't there yet is not failing some character exam. There is no exam. There's just practice and trust quietly adding up. So here's the story to carry home. The honest one. The marshmallow test never measured your child's destiny. It measured a single moment shaped by skills nobody had taught yet and trust the world had or hadn't earned yet. Both of those are yours to build. Keep the small promises relentlessly, because every kept later makes the next wait easier to choose. Teach the tricks. Look away, make it boring, do something in the meantime, instead of demanding staring contests with temptation. Let waiting actually pay off out in the open, in jars and goals and celebrated arrivals, so later builds a reputation worth betting on. And run your own grown-up version with a little mercy. Set up your money so the second marshmallow is the easy default, not a daily duel. 1 now or 2 later. Life will ask your family that question 10,000 times. You can't rig the answer, but you can absolutely raise people, the little ones and the one in the mirror, for whom waiting is simply a skill they happen to have. Because that was never destiny, it was always practice. And practice might be the most hopeful word there is. Waiting is a skill, not a verdict. If something here was useful today, the best thing you can do is use it tonight in one small way. And if you'd like to keep growing with us, you're welcome in our tribe at familycreative.org. It's where we gather the tools and resources we build for people doing this on purpose, and where you can learn more, share what's working, and help someone a few steps behind you. That's the whole point. Small, steady, together. Be kind, try hard, do the work, build the family. We'll see you in the next one.